Well, the threat for storms starts around 5 p.m. We're all waiting for that, and Evan Chickvara is tracking the system that's on the way.
I thought we would do a kind of a different approach here. I think if you see the screen more and these graphics, that'll be more helpful than me taking up half the screen on the wall. So this is our overview. This is the system that's going to be impacting us later today. You can see that's overlaid with the SPC outlook. And this front back here, this cold front, this is going to be the jumping off point, the source point for these thunderstorms as we head into the afternoon. So what's happening from now until then? It's warming up. Our temperatures, they're well into the 70s and now 80s. It is just after 11 o'clock here, and we'll probably continue to see these temperatures headed north towards 88, 89, 90 degrees. That heat is going to be energy for storms later on in the afternoon. So let's go to our latest. This is a look at our potential future view. This is essentially what could our radar look like later in the day. It's not the answer key. It will not depict exactly what we're going to have, but it gives us a rough idea. So I thought we'd walk through this. So this is at 3 o'clock. Move this ahead to about 5. Okay, so this is essentially when our window opens. What we're going to be watching for is this. Do we get these individual type cells ahead of the main line? So, these by themselves, here's the line. That's what forms along the front. If we get these isolated, what we call discrete supercells ahead of it, these would be ones to watch for tornadic development. Will they happen? It's conditional. Hate that word, but these may or may not form out ahead of the line. Just depends on the environment throughout the afternoon, but that's what we'll be watching for initially. So let's take this ahead a couple more hours. So you go from 5 o'clock to 7 o'clock. What are you doing in that time frame? Maybe you're making dinner. Maybe you're hanging out with your family. Maybe you're just winding down from the day. Well, what's going to be happening from 5 to 7 weather-wise is we're probably going to see an intensification with thunderstorms out there. Whether we see more of these individual cells out ahead, or we just see this line become more formidable. We'll be watching thunderstorms move from west to east. What we have is a lot of energy. We typically will say, hey, we're missing out on instability. That's something that our storms are lacking. We said that all through the spring, and that's a big time limiting factor. In this instance, we have a lot of instability, a lot of energy, so it should not take too much for these storms to get going. And there's just enough wind shear where these could be rotating. We'll go from 7 to about 9 o'clock, and now we've got this line stretching from roughly Huntsville down through the Cullman area and back into Mississippi. So this is still one of those conditional setups. Do we get that early batch of thunderstorms? I think we will see some individual discrete supercells early. That will, in fact, have a response to this line. It might work over the atmosphere to where we don't have storms of the same level of severity later in the afternoon. By 11 o'clock, this is crossing over I-59, and by 1 a.m., this is down south of Lake Martin. So this should be out of here fairly quickly given that time frame. So a little walk through that. I'll leave you with this. So look at your 7-day forecast, and there is some good weather on the way. The other side of this, quieter, calmer, cooler as we head towards Memorial Day.